Welcome to the Disney Wedding Podcast. This show is brought to you by Carrie Hayward's Fairy Tale Weddings Guide, the only guidebook and bridal organizer tailored exclusively to Disney's fairy tale weddings at Walt Disney World. I'm Carrie Hayward, and each week I feature Disney wedding updates, money-saving tips, and interviews with wedding vendors and real Disney couples. I also cover honeymoons, anniversaries, and engagements at the Disney parks and resorts. Join me now as the Disney Wedding Podcast celebrates romance at Disney destinations. Today on the Disney Wedding Podcast, I am speaking with Ronan, Zhang, and Kanver Bhandal about their ceremony at the East Plaza Garden in Magic Kingdom and reception at the French Terrace at EPCOT. I thought you guys would be interested to hear how they chose these locations and how they planned everything and how it all turned out. So welcome, Ronan and Kanver.
Hello, everyone.
Thanks so much for being on the show today. I would love to start at the very beginning and find out how you guys decided you wanted to have your wedding at Disney.
Let's just say I didn't have much say in the matter. My wife absolutely loves Disney, and she's been dreaming of this since she was a kid.
I always wanted a Disney wedding growing up. When I saw that they had this East Plaza Garden venue, I was like, this is absolutely perfect. I have to have it.
That's awesome. So then how did your friends and family react when they found out where the wedding was going to be?
Most of them, they were like, what? You can get married in Disney? That's a very common reaction.
Yeah, they didn't even know that was an option, so they were really surprised. And then some of them are actually crazy Disney lovers, and then they were really excited about it mainly. They're like, wow.
How many guests did you invite and how many were able to make the trip?
We invited around 30 people. We wanted it to just be close family and friends, and then only 3 people couldn't make it, so we had around 25 at the end. We're actually super grateful that everyone came because they traveled from all around the world. Some came from Australia, China, and Canada. So,
did you guys set up a room block for your guests?
Yes, we did. Basically, we saw that was an option and gave us discounted rates at the hotels, which was nice, and that they threw in a free night for us.
Because we had a small group, we basically discussed the room with everyone we invited, because we really wanted to stay in the same hotel with everyone. But then some of us are still students at the time, so then we decided on a budget hotel. We all stayed at Pop Sunshi. We also picked it because it was close to a Skyliner, and then we thought that was the best transportation we can have for the parks afterwards. And then we all ended up going to the park together with all our friends, and then it was great. It was amazing.
That's fantastic. How did you guys choose the day of the week and time of day for your event?
We picked March because the weather is pretty nice for us. Since we're from Canada, we don't want it too hot. So March had really good weather for us. And then the next thing is we wanted to pick it close to the weekend because we had everybody traveling as it was a destination wedding. So we made sure that it was going to be close to the weekend. And that's why we decided on Monday, because that would give guests time to travel over the weekend or enjoy the parks if they came early, and then they could leave immediately after, and then they only have to take 1 day off from work. And for time of day, we didn't really have much choice. My wife really, really wanted the castle, so there's only 2 venues that have the castle, and then we preferred having the wedding in the morning because we thought it's romantic to have the sunrise in it during it. So that's why our wedding time was really early in the morning at 7 a.m.
Yeah, and same for reception because we really wanted the fireworks. It's just one of a kind. So then we just picked EPCOT, and the time was also set for that one.
Got it. Okay, so for EPCOT, when you were picking your reception venue, did you know which one you wanted, or how did you choose the French island for your reception?
We actually had a few options. We were cool with most of the outdoor ones that has a fireworks viewing. I think we picked France, we had Germany, and we had Italy at the beginning. And then I think because we have a really small group, the other ones didn't work out for us. And then we only had the option for this one, which was really great because March we had the Garden and Flower Festival, and then that venue just had tons of flowers already, and it was really pretty.
That's wonderful. And then for your ceremony, you knew you wanted it to be in Magic Kingdom. Did you consider doing an after-hours event, or did you know you wanted East Plaza Garden so that you could be in the morning?
I did a little bit, but I really wanted some daylight for the wedding. I didn't really want it to be complete darkness, so that's mainly why we picked the morning one. Which is kind of funny because for our wedding, like 1 week before our wedding day, they told us that the park hour got changed. So then we had to have our ceremony 1 hour earlier. And that was like right after the daylight saving switch. So then our wedding was actually kind of like completely in the darkness. And then we only had a little bit of sunrise at the end when we were doing the bubble exit.
Interesting. Okay. Now, did you guys use any outside vendors for the portions of your event that you were able to?
I guess makeup artists we brought from outside because we're based in Toronto. And then I'm personally Asian. And then I found for the menu tasting, we did fly in to Orlando to do it. And then we did have the chance to try a few makeup artists locally that Disney recommended. And I found that they're not that specialized in Asian makeup because it's kind of like a different style. So then for me personally, I had to bring in my own makeup artist from Toronto to do my makeup.
Since we weren't in Florida or in Orlando, it's kind of difficult for us to see the local vendors. So we kind of just went off what Disney recommended for us. Yeah. Specifically for the videographers, we had a list provided to us. So we just looked through everybody's portfolio and we like McElroy Weddings the best.
Yeah. Also for our officiant, we did kind of the same thing. We had Kevin Knox for our officiant. He was amazing, like absolutely perfect. We also just did similar things. We just looked through everyone's portfolio. And Kevin also has a lot of information on his website for like how to get the marriage license and certificate. And he went through the entire like ceremony process. So it's really helpful.
That's wonderful. Did you guys add any kind of entertainment to the ceremony or the reception?
We didn't have much entertainment. Of course, we had the fireworks viewing for the reception. And then I guess one special thing we had is we had a first dance under the fireworks. So that was like entertainment for our guests in a way.
So we had our first dance under the fireworks because our reception is at EPCOT and then they don't really allow any DJs and they don't have a dance floor. On Mondays, they also don't have the extended hours option for weddings because they have the hotel guest extended hour thing. So then at the end, we couldn't have our first dance, basically. So then we decided to just have a choreographer making the dance according to the EPCOT fireworks soundtrack for us. And then it was like a surprise dance for our guests because they didn't think there was going to be a first dance because we told them there's no dance floor. They're kind of sad about it. But then it was like really, really, really good because they were just watching the fireworks and then we just randomly started dancing. And they were like really surprised.
That's amazing. Did you dance for the entire fireworks show?
We picked like a part of it where like the Frozen came in and then I See the Light, that part.
What a great idea.
Yeah, so I feel like if some people have like the EPCOT reception and then they don't want to have extended hours or they just can't, they could just totally do that. It's like perfect.
That's a great option.
And I guess like we just had the regular things like a bouquet toss, garter toss, cake cutting, toast, shoe games kind of things.
Got it. Do you have any menu items or cake flavors from the reception that you would recommend?
Our guests tell us that they absolutely love the mac and cheese. They wouldn't stop talking about the mac and cheese.
They still talk about them right now. Even last weekend when I was hanging out with my friends, they were like, the mac and cheese was the best ever. It was really random, but they just really love the mac and cheese. We also found the flambe donut station really cool, where any of the action stations I think will be like a great idea. Also anything Mickey Mouse will be like really, really cute. For cake, we had the pistachio and maple, and then we had strawberry jam and vanilla, I think. Both were really good. but we kind of like didn't have the stomach capacity after food, but it was really amazing. We also found the menu tasting or like the cake tasting event really, really helpful. And it was like really fun too. So we definitely really recommend that.
That's wonderful. And for listeners who aren't familiar, when you are having a reception that is 3 hours or longer, you will get an invitation to a menu tasting event that they have on Saturdays at Walt Disney World. And so it's a group event where you don't get to pick the menu, but Disney comes up with a menu of popular things for you to try. And you get to talk to a chef if you want to. And then you can also, if you want, you can order a cake flavor tasting kit from the Grand Floridian that you can pick up and enjoy, in your room or at the Grand Floridian. And it's a great way to try all the options.
Yeah, on the same day, we also went to the wedding pavilion and they had some cake on display for us to just see. It was really helpful too.
That's great. Can you give my listeners a timeline of how the day ran?
First was waking up at 2 a.m. I didn't need to wake up at 2 a.m., but my bride needed to wake up at 2 a.m. to get her makeup and get ready for the ceremony. So I just thought I should join her. And then at 5 a.m. we left towards the Magic Kingdom. And then we did our first look, did some photos with the Cinderella's coach and the wedding party. And then around 6:45 a.m. the guests came in on the Main Street vehicles. And 7 to 8 a.m. we had the ceremony, and then we just kind of exited the Magic Kingdom and went back to our hotel room and took a nap and a break and recovered from waking up at 2 a.m. And then for our reception, we left at 5 p.m. to EPCOT, a shared bus ride with all our guests, which was very fun. It felt like we were going on a field trip because they kept singing Disney songs. And then we just had the guests signing in, and then we ate, had toasts, cake cutting, the tosses, and then fireworks. And then the reception ended at 10 p.m. because we couldn't go extended any longer because of the extended hours for the hotel guests.
Got it. When you guys were planning, what were some of the most important aspects of the event where you focused your attention or the budget?
Well, I absolutely love the castle, so I had to have the castle venue. I think that was the biggest thing. And we had the Cinderella coach, which was super magical. And then I think it's fireworks for us, especially because we had our first dance under the fireworks. It was really special.
Were there any aspects that were less important where maybe you saved your money or just your effort?
For us, because it was March, which is spring season, and our venue already looked really nice and have a bunch of flowers. So we really saved on floral, I guess. We didn't have too much decorations for the venue compared to the indoor ones especially. And we didn't have much entertainment either because EPCOT just simply doesn't let us have DJ characters or anything like that. And also for a hotel, I guess, because we really wanted to all stay together with our friends and family. So then we just all stayed at Pop Century, which is a budget hotel, so we kind of saved some money on that. Also, Pop Century is really good because we're all rope drop kind of people. We go to the park super early and leave at the very end, so we spend most of our time in the park anyways. So it worked out for us.
During EPCOT, it was the Flower and Garden Festival, I think, so then our venue was already decorated with nice flowers, so that saved us a little bit.
That's wonderful. And you mentioned that when you have a reception outdoors at EPCOT while the park is still open, you can't have amplified entertainment, you can't have characters. I know a lot of people worry a little bit about that. How did your guests feel about that? Were you worried about entertaining them the whole time, or was it not really an issue?
Originally, when we planned the reception, we were worried, there's not enough things for them to do. That's why we considered a character artist or giving them puzzles and handouts. But then we kind of broke down the timeline more in detail, and we found actually our reception's not that long, and there's not really that much time. So we can spend the time just doing the regular things. And from what I saw, all our guests were busy enjoying themselves the whole time, and I don't think there was ever a moment where it seemed boring or nothing to do.
Yeah, we were all taking a lot of photos, which took up a lot of time anyways, and the fireworks itself is like an hour. So honestly, 4 hours was not like a lot of time for them to be bored. I guess for the speaker thing, we were really worried at the beginning, mainly because we were like kind of sad that we couldn't have a first dance. But then, as we mentioned, like we did end up having our first dance under the fireworks using the EPCOT soundtrack. So that was resolved at the end and actually worked out like much better than I would have thought of.
That's such a clever idea, and now you'll hear it every time you go back and watch that show.
Yeah, it's so amazing.
One more concern we had is since we had toasts, we were concerned that our guests wouldn't be able to hear our toasters. But fortunately, we just made sure to tell all the people giving a toast to speak very loud. And from what I could tell, everybody could hear them fine. So they were projecting their voice well.
We also had a small group. So if our group was really big, I don't know if that would like be perfect. But yeah, we only had like 25 people. So it was easier for them.
Right, okay. What ended up being each of your favorite memories of the wedding day?
I think mine was the first dance under the fireworks. You probably know because I mentioned it like 5 times by now.
And mine for sure was when we walked towards the coach for our bubble exit as husband and wife. So I just really loved that moment that I'm married and she's my wife now. And then there was really nice bubbles and the sky was really pretty with the sunrise and there was a castle backdrop, so it was perfect.
Oh yeah, the sunrise moment ended up happening like right at the end of our ceremony. So then we had like the beautiful like orange red sky in the backdrop. It was magical.
That's wonderful. Now, did anything go wrong or just not turn out like you expected?
Yeah. When we were saying the ring promise, I couldn't repeat the word encircle after Kevin said it, so I was just struggling to say encircle. And eventually I said something else like, and I put this ring on your finger. But yeah, that was, I don't know why that happened.
Yeah, well, I also didn't know, like, when we were signing the marriage certificate, because we had the signing moment, like, during the ceremony, but then actually in Florida, for the marriage certificate, we don't need to sign, like, the couple themselves don't need to sign during the ceremony. It's, like, pre-signed. So then I didn't know. And then Kevin was like, now the bride can sign the certificate. And then I was like, I have no idea where to sign. So then I looked for it. I couldn't find it. I asked him, like, 3 times. And then he came, and then he whispered to me, be like, just fake it. My friends still laugh at me for that. And I guess, like, we mentioned this before, but the last-minute ceremony time change was kind of, like, the biggest thing that went wrong, in quotation mark, for us. Because we did have, like, quite a dark morning ceremony. And it was really cold, surprisingly. Only that day. We were there for like a whole week, and that morning was only like 10 degrees Celsius. It was really cold. My bridesmaids were like, I didn't leave Canada for this temperature, but yeah. Yeah, but it turned out really well because we did have the really nice sky at the end for the sunrise. And also I had a really sparkly dress. So with the spotlight at night, it was nice.
Was there anything that seemed like a big deal beforehand or you were worried about and then it turned out not to be a big deal?
So for sure, I think one of the things that we were most sad about initially was not having a DJ and a dance floor because then we couldn't have a first dance. And like, unfortunately, we didn't realize that on Mondays is when they have the extended hours for hotel guests, so then we can't extend our reception. And we were just really saddened by that. But like we mentioned before, we figured out a way to work around that, and then we still had our first dance, so then it worked out at the end.
And is there anything you would have done differently knowing what you know now?
Honestly, it was like perfect, so we wouldn't change anything, given if we have the chance. But maybe I'll just tell my bridesmaids to wear a light jacket because that morning was so cold. But that was it.
That's great. Any other tips or advice for future Disney couples?
Yeah, I guess because I just mentioned weather, there was like a really big thing I want to tell people. Just don't worry about the weather and panic like the week before or the month before, because I totally did. I like spammed the Disney chat too. And I asked everyone, what do I do if it rains? But like, Honestly, Florida weather is just always changes. It would be great. Like, just have a backup venue if you like, but just don't panic, I guess. And also, like, the day off, just, like, enjoy it. Don't worry too much about anything else. Like, photos will be great. Especially if you look happy, the photos will be great. Just have some sleep, too, because we had a pretty crazy schedule for our events. We had, like, 2 hours sleep for 2 days. I guess wear comfy shoes, too, because for our EPCOT reception, surprisingly, we had to walk quite a bit inside the park. And I didn't have like a backup shoes because morning was fine and I thought it was going to be fine. But it was pretty painful at the end. So yeah, have some comfy shoes for walking.
I'll just add a tip for the guys. If you have trouble smiling for those nice photos, don't worry. You'll be super happy that day, so you'll just be smiling all the time naturally.
That's great advice. Well, Ronan and Kanver, I think you've offered a lot of great tips and advice for anyone who's interested in getting married or having a vow renewal at Walt Disney World, and I appreciate your taking the time.
Thank you so much for having us.
That's our show for today. I'm your host, Carrie Hayward, inviting you to join me again next week for another episode of the Disney Wedding Podcast. Past shows and tons of photos for each episode are available on my website, DisneyWeddingPodcast.com, or listen in your favorite podcast app. And for instant answers to all your Walt Disney World wedding questions, check out Carrie Hayward's Fairy Tale Weddings Guide, available as an interactive ebook with continual free updates at fairytaleweddingsguide.com.